How Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson upended the GOP foreign policy apparatus. Donald Trump's tenure as President of the United States not only broke many Republican conventions, but also upended the party's foreign policy apparatus. Traditionally, the Republican Party has maintained a muscular foreign policy worldview that supported internationalism and interventionism. However, Trump challenged this consensus by advocating an isolationist approach to world affairs. Trump's approach to foreign policy was often impulsive and based on gut feeling or advice from inexperienced outsiders, such as former Fox News star Tucker Carlson and current Fox News host Laura Ingraham. The Republican Party's foreign policy establishment consists of a network of think tankers, former officials, and other experts known as the Blob. The Blob is a diverse group, but its members generally support internationalism and interventionism. During election campaigns, candidates without foreign policy experience typically select advisors from the Blob to serve in their administrations. The hawkish priorities of the Republican donor class also play a role in shaping the party's foreign policy. Trump's approach to foreign policy was a rejection of the GOP establishment's views, and he built his core political identity around this rejection. Trump's skepticism toward Ukraine is now the new establishment view, with 3/4 of Republican primary voters supporting Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who share a skeptical stance towards Ukraine. Support for U.S. aid to Ukraine among Republican voters has decreased, with 40% of Republican respondents in a Pew poll conducted this year stating that the United States is too involved in Ukraine, up from 9% in March last year. The influence cycle between politicians and their voter base has shifted, with powerful nodes in the conservative media ecosystem, such as Carlson and Ingraham, replacing the NATO-loving wonks of the former establishment. Trump has an innate ability to reflect his supporters' instincts, feeding off them and intensifying them. Trump did not invent the isolationist strain in Republican foreign policy thinking, but he did intuit its potentially broad appeal to voters who distrust elite decision-making. The Iraq War is a lasting blot on the GOP establishment's reputation that led directly to the populist foreign policy we see on the right today. Republicans chose 2 nominees in a row, John McCain and Mitt Romney, who supported the war, while the public's approval of it plummeted. Leading voices on the right had not caught up with this change, except for the libertarian-leaning wing of the party, such as Ron Paul and his son Rand. The Iraq failure fed directly into the whirlpool of discontent that Trump was able to channel, reinforcing his base's belief in his America First worldview. Populism can be unpredictable, and foreign policy is an area where the populace is not very informed. 40% of Republican voters may want less involvement in Ukraine now, but this may change in the future. The best way to handle a complicated situation like Ukraine is why the Blob exists. Recently, the public got a rare glimpse of what people in the government think thanks to a leak of Pentagon documents that showed just how nervous U.S. officials are about the situation in Ukraine. The leaker's alleged motive was to impress friends in a Discord group, a miniature version of the populist foreign policy merry-go-round. In conclusion, Trump's approach to foreign policy upended the Republican Party's traditional views, with skepticism towards Ukraine now the new establishment view. The influence cycle between politicians and their voter base has shifted to powerful nodes in the conservative media ecosystem. Populism can be unpredictable, and foreign policy is an area where the populace is not very informed. The best way to handle complicated situations like Ukraine is why the Blob exists.